Hello, good evening and good morning, wherever you are, what time of day it is. I have no idea where you are. Yesterday's video was Christianity, normal reality for most Christians. So today's one is going to be looking at a few issues that are raised there, such as even the issue that's pointed out that a lot of the evidence from people's lives would suggest that there is no God, that there is no salvation, that there is no heaven, no hell, etc. I asked God to show me something that in the Bible it talks about where the Lord says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can get to the Father except through me. So I said to God, can you show me that in a way that people would understand, maybe a bit better? But the way God showed me it was quite interesting. He said, imagine for a second that Bill Gates or someone of that nature put out a message to say, whatever you buy in this particular shop, well, actually in this particular aisle of this particular shop, in this particular town, I will pay for whatever you buy. God then said most people would look at it and say, I can afford to pay for my own stuff. I haven't really got to pay for anything too expensive, so I can do that. A lot of people would say, well, actually, there's a shop with the same name in my town. I'll take all my stuff there. I'll try my luck. I don't really want to travel all the way over there. That's a bit hard. So I'll take it to my town here. A lot of people would take just a few little bits and pieces. A chocolate bar, etc. Thinking that the offer means, just something tiny. It doesn't really mean whatever you want to buy, you take through the aisle and he will pay for. So they just take a chocolate bar or a sweet of some sort, or maybe they will take their week shopping. Some people will understand. Some people would take deeds to a house, deeds to a car. Some people will even buy a whole island and take the deeds to a whole island through that checkout, and it would be paid for. They would get that for free. But most people wouldn't. Most people would, for some reason, find an excuse not to go through that process, to go through there. And God says that's why you've got so many different religions. It's because people have said, well, maybe I can do my own version. We don't particularly like this, so maybe if we take a bit of that, bit of this, and we can just do our version of it, and it'll be better. But there is only one way, truth and light, that you can go through. So many are going to miss out. But again, as I suggested, so many are going to miss out because of the fact that we who have the truth are not shining our light so that people can see. Because obviously those who do not have the truth, they may have something similar to that, but it has no light. But of course, if Christianity has no light, how can people know that the other belief system, whether it's a Church of Latter-day Saints or whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses, that they are not the truth? Because when people look at them and see no light, people look at Christianity and they see no light, they look exactly the same. In fact, the other belief systems, Jehovah's Witnesses and Church of Latter-day Saints, look better than Christianity does. The reason why they look better is because they send people out to spread the word. They send people out to spread their belief, to try and bring people into the flock. Christianity, generally speaking, certainly in local communities, fails to do that now. You won't find many Christians going out. You'll find them going to Africa. And for some reason, I don't know why, they have this thing where they think, the mission is in Africa. The mission is on your doorstep, you idiot. Yeah, look out. Open your flipping door. Look out. There's your mission. That's where it is. Yeah, walk around your local town. Look and see the people. See whether they look happy, whether they're miserable. Yeah, whether they're taken by certain desires, and whether they're, get to speak to the people. Yeah, find out where they are. You'll learn pretty quickly that is your mission. There it is. It's there. Get people queuing around your church first, and then maybe look a bit further afield and say, well, maybe we can go there. Instead, all the focus is on over there, and over here, where we are, is left abandoned. Nobody's actually bothering with that. Well, deal with that first. If all the churches dealt with their local communities first, we'd have better local communities. Far better. We'd have less knife crimes, less gun crimes. We'd have less crime overall. There would be a solution to abortions. We wouldn't need to be seeing people standing with placards saying God hates abortions. These women are killing their children. That's no solution. It isn't. Most of these women have actually considered quite a bit over a bit of time what they're doing. Accusing them of killing their children is not really going to help the situation. Maybe providing a solution to that. Maybe providing adoption for that child, providing means so that the mother can actually raise the child herself. Because maybe the mother doesn't have a job. Maybe she doesn't have accommodation. Maybe she doesn't have the security in her life for her to think that she can perhaps raise a child and do justice to that child by raising it herself. But the church can be an answer to that. And even if the church can't persuade every woman who wants an abortion to not do so, they can be there for that woman and help that woman to repent of her sins and set her free from the sins that she's committed. It's not about telling people what you can and cannot do. What it is about is being alive in the community that you're in, showing that light. And because we haven't, again, we've made it look as if all these other beliefs are just as real as Christianity, which they're not. They have no life. They were created by man for man's purpose. And I understand but people say that Christianity may have been the same, and certain elements of Christianity certainly were. The Baptist Church definitely was. The Irish Reformed Church, all these different places were created by man. That is correct. Some for the right reasons, some for the wrong reasons. Either way, they were still created by man. We don't have really a Christian church. We don't have a church created by God because man keeps on getting in the way. When God says he wants a church done in a certain way, after a short time of man being involved, man says, but let's put a bit of religion there. Let's put a bit of the world system in there. And it's like, no, none of that actually belongs. If you want God to move, you've got to do things his way. You're not going to see God moving in your towns if you're doing things the world's way. You're going to see the world moving in your towns. And the world couldn't care less about the people in your towns. There's no good thinking that the world cares. It doesn't. As I said yesterday, the problem is to do things God's way is difficult without the right people leading the church. If you've got pastors leading the church, the pastors aren't aren't going to be sensing what God has to say, because generally speaking, pastors are people pleasers, not God pleasers. Now, if they're doing their ministry correctly, they will be pleasing people and pleasing God. The problem is that quite often they get into the habit of pleasing people and seeing that is their ministry when it isn't really. Not at all. Their ministry is to be a blessing to people, but it's not to please them necessarily, because even a pastor has to say no sometimes, because people are very self-centered and selfish and self-righteous, and even a pastor, when they hear BS, they've got to point the BS out and say, no, that's not okay. You thinking that way, you saying that, you speaking in that way about that person is not okay. So being a people pleaser means you wouldn't say that. You'd say, "Oh, I understand you thinking that way. I really do." You know, you wouldn't necessarily, back what they've said, but you'd give them the impression you back it. You'd be careful, making sure you don't, but you'd certainly give them the impression they do. Yeah, people pleasers are liars, generally, but they're clever. They have to be clever, because if you're going to please everybody all the time, you've got to keep on chopping and changing how you think and what you say, and what you think what you say is okay, but certainly never really saying anything's okay, because if something gets back to someone else that you said that to some person, then you could lose that person as a friend, and you don't want to do that. We all know some people pleasers, and they're a pain in the arse. They really are a pain in the arse, and the church is infested with a lot of those people. But the way to move forward, getting back to that, is you've got to have the right people leading the church, but the way to get the right people leading the church really is your prayer warriors. Yeah. In churches, most churches have a prayer warrior or two. It's better to have two or three. If you've got two or three, then use them. Get those people to really focus on their ministry. Give them the time, give them the peace and quiet that they need to do that, to sense what God is trying to say to the church as to the direction they want the church to go into, maybe the person that they want the church to be led by. And then do that. And then keep on doing that. Keep on relying upon these people as your guide, as in, God is going to speak through these people. They're going to be sensitive to what God is trying to say to your church. That's the way to go around it. Certainly, the church's idea that you send people to Bible college is a good plan. No, it's an awful plan. College is a world system designed to educate people in a certain way, or really limit the education of people in a certain way, as it quite often is, especially Bible college, because it teaches people how to present a message. It's like they create speakers, but they don't necessarily create people who know what to say at a certain time and who can sense what God wants them to say. They have people that can plan a message, weeks in advance of going to a church. And in most cases, those messages are poor, because they're not what God wants for that church at that time. It's just the way that the people have been trained to do in the Bible colleges. If you want to train people for spiritual things, then you get them trained in the spiritual way. Initially, God has to train the people. And then the people that God has trained, they can then train people. But at the moment, we seem to have a lack of people that God has trained. As I say, you've got some people that come across and look as if they're doing a fantastic job online. There's a load of other organisations that seem to be doing well, but look a bit deeper. And when you look a bit deeper, you see that all is not quite as it should be. But I would say to everything you hear in, whether it's an audio message like this or a video message that other people do, a preaching message, or whether you're in church and you hear a message there, always go to God after you've heard a message and ask God, is there anything here that is true that I need in my life? If so, help me to take the truth and impart it into my life, to have that, to eat all that truth, and all the untruth, help that to just disappear from me. I don't want any of that in me, in my brain, in my mind, in my understanding. And then pray for the person who's been speaking. Certainly if there's untruth in what they've said, ask God to help them to understand what they were saying was untrue. And it's also a case of pray for every single person who speaks, every single person that speaks, and ask God to make sure that when God stops talking, they also stop. Because when God's talking, you get great food. You get great things coming out of the mouths of those people that God's using. But then when God stops talking and that person continues talking, what you're getting is man. You're getting his view, his opinion. And his view and his opinion, don't care who they are, their view and their opinion means nothing. It's worthless, whoever they are. What we need is what does God want to say to the people? Because that's going to change people. You go into a meeting and God is speaking directly to the people in that church in ways that are speaking into their lives. That's going to have an impact. Having some preacher going there who's just talking from their own opinion and their own viewpoint or a message that they've made up months ago or weeks ago doesn't really change anyone. I mean, you're likely to have a load of people from the church go up to the minister and say at the end, that was nice. Excuse me, that was nice? No, I don't want that was nice. I want bloody hell. Where the bloody hell did that come from? How did he know that? How was he able to speak into my life in a way that I've not told anyone this and he knew it? How did he know that? Only God could have told him that. Wow. And then, when he stopped saying things that were speaking into people's lives, he just stopped talking. He said, that's it. Now, this is a man I want to see again. This is a minister I want to see again. There's power coming through this man. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see nice. Nice is, we've had lots of nice. We've had too much nice. And the reason why I say we've had too much nice, we've got soft. We've got too soft. We've got big bellies. We've been eating all this baby food for years in the church. And we need meat. We need stuff that's going to help us to develop muscles so that we can stand and we can run and we can jump. We can fight the fight that we're supposed to be fighting. Our fight is not against people, but we do have a fight. There's a spiritual realm that Christianity is supposed to be warring against, because that spiritual realm is warring against the people of this world. I saw Ricky Gervais earlier speaking, saying about death and saying that the way he believes it is that we were non-existent for billions of years, individuals that is, and then we exist for maybe 100 years and then we're non-existent again. But think about it in this way. If that's reality, if there really is no God and there's no heaven, there's nothing after this, why on earth are we going on? Why are we continuing? Life is crap. For most people, life is crap. It's a real struggle. Why struggle when you die, that's it? What's the point? What's the point in that? When you die, that's it. If that's the case, why continue? If there's no consequences to suicide, why don't we just kill ourselves? That's what I can't see. It can't be that. It can't be the case that once you die, that's it. That, that the planets are just there because there was a big bang, and nature just came along and created us and all the animals and etc. etc. It just happens to be that it just happened. That's horrendous. Because if that's the case, then there really is no point in continuing. There's no point in having a child. You bring a child into a world where they're only going to suffer. In most cases, they're only going to suffer. And for what? Oh, come on. Saying they're only going to suffer. Unless you're incredibly wealthy, you're going to be someone who's going to be trod on by those at the top. That's going to happen. It's always happened. So it's going to happen. That's part of life. And certainly as a Christian, we're not supposed to be destroying those people, although I wish we were. We're not, and God's not going to do it yet. God will do it on their day of judgment, but he's not going to do it yet. I wish he did. I really wish he did. I wish he completely destroyed the top 5% of people. Certainly those who had no honor, who had no, whatever words, no real love in their soul. Just end them. End all the people. If they're bullies, end them. If they're warmongers, end them. If they're people that are spreaders of hate, end them. I wish that would happen. And it will, eventually, because, the Bible talks about a new heaven and new earth, and that God's people will reign in that new earth, and the haters and etc. won't be there. But at the moment, they're here, and we've got to put up with that. But that means that we are going to suffer, at least to a certain degree, during our lives. But if there is no God, why would we do that? Why would we agree to go through that? There's no point to it. It's just, and then you die and that's it. That's just ridiculous to assume that would be the case. I just don't see how someone can get up in the morning when they believe that that's likely to be the case. What are you getting up for? For doing what? Okay, you might make some money, like people like Ricky Gervais makes a lot of money in his abilities of producing TV programs that are good for people to enjoy, and comedy and all stuff like that. But he's got that money that is not going to make any real difference to him in the end after he's dead. He can leave it behind to people, but all they're going to do is spend it and then die anyway, and then be forgotten, pretty much, because then they don't exist anymore. I don't get it. I just don't. I can't understand how people can live with thinking that. And I said yesterday, Christianity's tough. But Christianity is tough right now until we get the right people, and hopefully we will get the right people. Lord, I mean, if I could be one of those right people, I would. I really would. I just don't have a clue. I don't know. I have no idea how I could get there. It would have to be God that does it. It really would, because I know me. I know anything you get from me is a pile of crap. That's all you're going to get from me is a pile of crap. You're not going to get anything decent. Unless God is doing it, it's worthless. So, never know. God willing, we get there. And we have to get there. We have to make a show of things, because if the Bible is true and God is true and all this stuff is true, then we know that we're going to get to a point fairly soon where the Antichrist is going to rule. And when that is happening, it says anyone with a sign of the 666 on their forehead or forehead, which they reckon is a chip, identity chip that have all your banking details and your passport and your medical and all of that on it. Anyone who has that cannot go to heaven. That they cannot have the mark of God on them and have the mark of the beast on them at the same time. So we who are Christians have to stand up and have our light shining to give as many people as is possible an opportunity to find God. And I can't see that that's not going to happen. That has to happen. How? I don't know. Right at this very moment in time, I have no idea. I mean, I personally think that getting the churches right is one of the most important factors. Because if you can get the churches right, then you can get the people in the churches into the ministries that they've been called into. And then they can go out and they can minister to the people. And that will then give people the opportunities. We can get back to the stages where we can have churches, and hopefully every church in the world, in a position where when people drive past that church, they're convicted of sin. So they have to come in. Or they can either come in and give their life to God, or they can drive past having been convicted of their sin. But at the moment, that generally speaking isn't happening, but it needs to. It needs to happen where the praise and worship in the church is so powerful that people are drawn to it. People that aren't Christians are drawn to it. But again, it's not happening yet, but it can do. And I think it will. As I say, hope. You've got to hang on to hope. But even logic says that if there's going to be a time when the Antichrist is going to be on the earth and people are going to be doomed because of that, then there has to be a time before the complete darkness comes in. Or whether it won't be complete darkness, I suppose. But it'd be a darkness that's trying to snuff out with the light. But the light has to shine in a powerful way before then, surely. I can't see how that can't happen. But anyway, I've waffled enough for this one. Hopefully there's something in this audio recording that can be a blessing to you. A bit of understanding, a bit of passion that maybe can help you in some way. I don't know. You have a wonderful rest of the week, and when I've got something else that I can share that God has given me, I will upload that. Well, God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night's sleep if it's night time. And God bless you. May God give you the answers that you need and the direction that you need. God bless you, folks. Bye-bye. Until next time.